And I got way too many feels, way too much emotion, I don't even know what's real. I don't need to get along with your best friend, even better with your family.
Hello friends, and welcome to this video. Lexi and I are doing a Q&A. Half of it's going to be on my channel, half it's going to be on her channel. So go check out the other video if you haven't already. Basically what we did is we put stickers on our Instagram stories and asked you all to ask us any questions, fitness related, non-fitness related, whatever works. So we're just going to jump right in and we'll see how long this takes because I know that I talk a lot, so...
I don't talk at all.
It's an issue.
I'm very silent.
Yeah, right.
Just kidding. Okay. We'll try to keep these brief and fun though.
Yes. The first one is, in a bulk, how many macros should you add and when?
Well, so typically what I would say, well not typically what I would say is it really depends on the person. I know for myself and for people who I coach, what works for one person is not going to work for the next person. For some people, to get them to grow and add mass of any kind, we have to increase food pretty drastically, bump things up really quickly, and other people will respond with smaller bumps in macros. So it really, really does depend. It's something that you just kind of have to test out and feel out for yourself. If you increase things only a little bit, do you notice weight still progressing? Are you still feeling stronger in the gym and noticing progress there? Or are you someone who you have to add maybe 50 grams of carbs and 15 grams of fat? You know what I mean? Everyone is super, super different. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think it also depends on not only where you are now and how your metabolism is and how your body works, but also your history because, both of us have competed, and when you have dieted down for so long, you can increase your food pretty quickly and be fine just because your body is so depleted. Mm-hmm. But if you're somebody who's just kind of new to macros or you're used to eating a lot of food, you're not going to get away with adding as much. So again, it really depends, but I would say I don't even want to quantify it because again, it is so individualized. But if you're someone who's tracking and coaching yourself and you're scared to add food, I would just add maybe 20 carbs for a week and see how you respond, because that's literally a negligible amount of calories. And if that makes you feel safe to add a smaller amount, then do that. Otherwise, you can jump by 15 grams of fat or 50 carbs and just, weigh yourself every day if you're okay with doing that, and just pay attention to your biofeedback and the data points. If you're gaining weight, then obviously you're eating above your maintenance and you're probably good to keep your macros the same so you can grow at that point. Yeah. And it really, it all just comes back down to each person and just how you respond. You really just kind of have to be objective with it and pay attention, which can be hard. We both have a coach, so
we're both coaches who have coaches.
Yeah, So,
but yeah, kind of going off of that, I think just we don't talk at all again. But in terms of the biofeedback piece of things, so that's things like digestion, hunger, things like that. As my food gets higher, as my clients' food, if you're someone who needs to eat a lot of food to continue to progress, you're going to have to start bumping things up probably in smaller amounts because things like digestion and stuff can get out of whack. So if you're someone starting on a lot lower macros, typically you can increase things a bit faster then, because your body's especially if you're dieted down, your body's oh bless, give me the freaking food, you know what I mean? Whereas when things get really high, you have to be careful because things can get a bit unregulated, and you want to be cautious of that because the last thing you want is your digestion just shut down and then you have to take a break from bulking or something. But only increase things if you need to, like Melissa said. People ask all the time, how much should I increase per week? And it's not a matter of time. It's when your weight stalls for a week, then increase your food,
Yep. Okay. The next one is, how do you deal with judgment from fam and friends when it comes to macros? So I guess I can start this one. I think, it's going to be hard regardless, unless you come from a family of bodybuilders. It's going to be difficult, just because people know you as fitting into a certain box and you're trying to break out of that box. So What I did was, and I'm more of like a blunt and direct person, which I thank law school for, but I just basically told my dad, I was like, the first time that I was like going to bring my food home because I was like tracking macros, I just told him, I was like, hey, like, I want to do a fitness competition. I obviously wasn't coming out of the gate with like, I'm going to be on a bikini on stage, like, you know what I mean? So I was like, I'm trying to stick to this new like thing. It's called macro tracking, and I just like kind of explained it to him, and he's super supportive anyway. But what he told me after I came home and had all my food was, obviously at first they're going to be concerned because they think you're eating like lettuce and that's it, you know? But he told me afterwards that it made more sense once he saw what I was eating, because he was like, you really do like eat a balanced like diet, and it makes sense because obviously they love you, they want the best for you, and they want you to be like safe in terms of dieting. So I guess that kind of requires them to be open-minded, and some people just aren't, but you really just have to explain it. And I will say, if there's somebody in your life who doesn't get it, don't be afraid to love them from a distance, you know, set boundaries, and you got to do what makes you happy. If you want to track macros, and that makes you happy and it works for you, then like that's what you should do. Life's too short to worry about other people trying to keep you in that box.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with like basically everything you said. I think if tracking macros is something you do for you, not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's going to like there's a reason not everyone tracks macros. You know what I mean? Like some people are going to think that it's weird. And there are those who might think it's weird and be like, okay, bye. And those people you can love from a distance. And some people, like, I know I have friends who are like vegan, and like I would never want to be vegan, but I totally respect it. I have some friends who are keto, and like I would never do it, and like I don't understand why they enjoy it, but like I love them the same, and I still support it. And I think that there will be people like that too who don't get it but support you regardless. And like I know I'm lucky because that's how a lot of my friends are, and like in college and stuff, a lot of my friends were like, it's kind of weird, but like it's just what Lexi does. And I think a big piece of it is like the why behind why you're doing it. And this is what I say to a lot of like my clients and stuff like that, is I know at first like my family, kind of like yours, and I have a history of like a very severe eating disorder for like years, and my family saw me through that. And so for me being like, yeah, I'm tracking my food, at first they were like, this is not healthy, like whatever. But for me, it always came from a place of love for myself and love for what I'm doing and love for the goals I'm pursuing. And so I think that when they kind of like saw that passion and like how much I enjoy doing it, like how can you not support someone doing that? And I think the other thing that's really important too is making sure that like it is something that is healthy for you, because I think a lot of people are like, why do people not support it or say it's not healthy? And it's like when their relationship with food, because they're tracking and stuff, isn't necessarily healthy, right? Like if you are someone who like you have no, like you're not like in prep for a show or something, but it's like Christmas and you're like scared to eat what your family's eating because like you need to hit your macros. Like if I was your family, I'd probably be like, is her like weighing out her food more important than like going out to dinner with me or making like enjoying Christmas or whatever? And so I think making sure that like tracking for you is something that is healthy is very, very important. And again, it's very different if you are like have a coach and are like in a dieting phase for a reason, like a prep or something like that. But if you're just like someone tracking to be fit and to like, because it's something that enhances your life and makes you feel good, make sure that it stays something like that and something that doesn't like pull you away from people, because it can do that. And like I think that there is a time where tracking can become kind of like crazy and selfish, and you just have to be really honest with yourself about like, is this something that is for me and that people should be supportive of, or is this causing me, and we were kind of talking about this yesterday, is this like making me selfish and making me like isolate myself from all these people? Like is me tracking my food like more important than me going to my friend's like birthday or something like that, you know?
Okay, next one is, have you ever wanted to get a boob job?
Yes. I think there's a lot coming out right now about like breast implant illness and stuff, and I actually had a boob job scheduled like a few months ago, and I canceled it, and I'm like doing a lot more. Like, I'm very cautious because of that right now, if I'm being totally honest. But you can't see because I have this on, like, I'm literally flat as a board. So it's something that I want to do. Like, one, it's definitely not for competing. I had this boob job scheduled before I even competed. It's something I wanted to do since I was younger, and I, like, told myself when I financially could do it, I would. And I still want to, but obviously I would never, like, jeopardize my health for boobs. It's just something I want, so I, like, feel feminine and feel like I can wear the clothes I want to wear and whatever.
Yeah, so I'm definitely in the same boat. Like, I've wanted one for so long, and then I don't know, like, all this stuff about breast implant illness came out, and, like, that kind of scares me, like, a lot. So, and we're, like, the same. Like, I literally have no boobs whatsoever, and again, it's the same for me. Like, it's not for competing. Even when I was little, I mean, not when I was little, I guess you don't know what your boobs are gonna look like until after you go through puberty, but, like, when I was in, like, toward the end of high school, I was like, okay, well, apparently shit's not happening here. So I was like, yes, we will be going under the knife. But then, yeah, all the breast implant illness stuff came out, and I just think, I mean, right now I probably would not do it just because I'm, like, scared of that risk, but I think I can see them coming out, like, the plastic surgery industry coming out with, like, a lot more, like, maybe a safer product if they, like, do the research and test it, which that's a whole other debate with, like, the intent behind that industry and all the money that I don't want to get into. But for now, I'm like, happy with myself. Like, I've grown into myself. I used to hate it, and now I will, like, wear a bralette, and it's, like, no problem, you know? So.
Yeah. No. And I'm the same way. Like, I literally, like, don't care. Like, everyone knows I have no boobs.
It's not
something that I think is, like, you have to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna compete for what, like, a few years, and then if you get boobs for that, then you're, like, stuck with them for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Okay, next question is, what is your favorite body part to train and your favorite workout legging?
Okay, favorite body part to train. Okay, shoulders is the most fun for me, but there is nothing like a really good leg day. But leg days, like, if you have a shitty leg day, then it, like, literally makes me so sad. So I'd say overall, like, shoulders and legs, I can't decide. And by legs, I hate quads, glutes, and hamstrings. What was it?
Favorite workout legging?
Yeah. Lulu lines.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah, so same for favorite workout legging. They're just so soft and high-waisted, and just, they're great. Favorite body part to train. So, like, if I had to pick one, it would probably be shoulders, because every time I do shoulders, it's great. A close second is definitely glutes, because it really depends on the day. Like, if you can get, like, a solid glute pump and, like, just that really good mind-muscle connection, it's bomb. But, like, I don't get that every time, so some days I'm just over it. So that would be my ranking.
Well, if you're, like, really tired and you go in and have to hit legs, you're like, I literally hate this right now. But shoulders, it's, like, doesn't take as much energy output, so you can just, like, freaking crush it every time, and you just get, like, a gnarly pump.
Yeah.
Unless you're dieting, then it's,
then
it's just depressing.
Okay, favorite wine to drink. So I am a white wine person, and my absolute go-to every single time is Riesling.
Yeah, but you're the first person I knew like that. I'm a red wine girl. I would say Pinot Noir and Cab. If it's, like, a specific wine, my go-to is 19 Crimes, because it's not super expensive, and I really like their Cab, and you can get it, like, anywhere, so.
Okay, next one is biggest plans for 2019.
Ooh. Is this, like, competing or, like, just in life? You go. This is your channel.
Let's do in life. Obviously, we're both competitors, so we're probably going to compete in 2019. Yeah. But for me, it's definitely going to be moving. Everybody knows, maybe you don't know, but most people know I want to move to California, like, ASAP. Like, I'm graduating tomorrow, and I'm ready to piece the fuck out. So that's, like, my number one thing.
Fuck yeah. I think for me, a lot of it is just growing and, like, shifting my business. So literally, like, a year ago, I quit my corporate job, and now I'm a full-time online coach. And I think for me, a big thing I want to focus on this year is just expanding my brand into, like, other avenues, hiring a team, because as a single person, there's only so much you can do, and like I just have all these ideas and I can't do them all by myself, and I'm a control freak, so I need to let go of some of that control and like get other people to help me. So I think a lot of it for me is just growing my business is a big part of like what I want to do. So
best piece of advice anyone's ever given you?
oh,
I know, it's hard. That's a hard one. Okay, I'll do mine. I could say like a ton of different things, but they'll all sound cliche, but this one thing sticks out to me and kind of goes hand in hand with like the whole vibe that I'm about, and that is, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. And
Dude.
I think you can apply that to everything. Like,
that's so long.
I love that.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time, actually.
Yeah.
Do you want to elaborate?
I don't know. I mean, you could probably come up with your own examples or apply it to like anything you're struggling with right now, but even like the way that I like learned about it was not through my own personal relationship, but this person was talking about dating, and they were saying if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And I'm like, you're right. I don't want to settle for someone that like I like them, you know? I'd rather like hand pick my freaking Prince Charming and be like, it's a hell yes, you know what I mean? But I think it also applies just to like work, family relationships, vacation, like whatever, you know? So that way, you know, every single choice you make, it's what you fully like truly want, instead of being like, yeah, I guess I would enjoy that, or I kind of like him or something like that. So yeah.
It's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Mm-hmm. I literally say that all the time. I think for me, actually, my grandma used to always say this, and it kind of got like passed on through my family, but I don't remember who said this quote, but it's the whole like life is 10% what happens to us and 90% what we decide to make of it. Yep. And I think for me, like one thing I've realized a lot growing up is like you cannot handle your circumstances always. Like you can't handle how other people treat you. You can't you can't control like what happens at work. Like there's like most shit is out of our control. And I think when stuff happens, a lot of times like my pet peeve is when people act like a victim to their situation. Like I can't do X, Y, or Z because like I don't have time, or this person did that to me, or whatever. And like, or they like let something like small ruin their whole freaking day. And like at the end of the day, like you can't control a lot of the stuff that happens, but guaranteed like you will live a much happier life, to a much more successful life, just like a better life in a million different ways if you like handle things as like from as positive a place as possible, which I think is super important, but also just realizing that like you're not a victim to your situation. And that's something too, like my mom always said to me. She's like, she would always, whenever I was like, oh, I can't do X, Y, she's like, why are you playing victim? Like you're not like, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, no matter what your circumstances are. So I think that quote can be applied in a million different ways, from just like, don't let something small like ruin your day, to like take fucking control of your life. Yeah. So that's just something that always.
And I kind of, that just reminded me, I want to add that you're always one decision away from a different life.
Yeah.
Like think about that. And like everything you just said, I mean, that we both said, like goes to that. Just think about it. You could do something, like I could have done something crazy and been like, I'm not taking my last law school final, and not graduated tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like you're always that close from completely changing everything. And that's not to say like drop out of school, but like if you don't like your circumstances, obviously you cannot control them, but you can make decisions to get closer to where you want to be. Yeah. So how did we meet is the next question. So you want to tell our love story?
Well, we met in person for the first time at the LA Fit Expo last year. Mm-hmm. And then again when you went to Pace to Be Brave.
Yeah.
Or came to Pace to Be Brave. I don't know. Yeah. She came to San Diego, and I'm from San Diego, so we hung out then, but we're teammates.
Yeah. We had the same coach, and that's how I found her on social media. And then, yeah, like a year ago almost, we actually met for real. And then like we've always just been in contact over social media and like we vibe. And so I was in San Diego and Lexi was like, yo, let's hang. And it went great. And then like we booked this trip now and we're probably about to book flights for like next month. So yeah. Okay, so the next one is, do you feel guilty after you have a free meal or like a cheat meal? We don't call them cheat meals. We call them free meals. But I would say even when I coached myself and I would have a free meal, no, I did not feel guilty because that's life. And even now that I'm with a coach, whenever we do have free meals in, there's like kind of a structured way to handle it. That way you don't like go off the rails. And like I'm far enough into this journey now that I'm not like a psycho with my food anymore. I used to like very much binge eat and like be miserable, like just be so full and almost sick. But no, because I just know now that like I'm so on point the rest of the time and I'm like reaching my goal. Like if I'm cutting, like I'm dropping weight, like I'm responding, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. And just like yesterday was my birthday, tomorrow's graduation, I'm going to allow myself to enjoy it even though I'm in a dieting phase. And I truly, truly do not feel bad after. The only thing I might feel bad about is like I'm really full, so I'm uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And like that's just because I'm so used to eating smaller meals as opposed to like a calorically dense free meal.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with everything she said, just in terms of like it being structured, not going overboard and whatever. But I think what I'll like add to it and like being on track most of the time is like, obviously coming from a history of an eating disorder, like, yeah, I would have probably felt really guilty like having an untracked meal or like what I would consider a free meal. Like if like going and getting like a burger and fries and froyo or whatever. But like, one way I look at it now, and I explain to a lot of people, is like, food is just food. Like, if you are letting it, like, affect your mood, how you feel about yourself, like, give you, like, if you're having, like, anxiety about food, like, it's just freaking food. Like, you are a living, breathing, like, very capable human. And food is this, like, inanimate, like, not, like, even the foods that, like, did live at one point, like a plant or it's fucking lifeless. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's, like, meant to, like, give you experience. Like, why would you let something like that have control over you and how you feel about yourself? Like, it's just food. If you overdid it, like, move on. Mm-hmm. That's how I see it. I don't know. I'm like, it's just food. Like, why is it something that, like, and like, we've all been there. Like, I'm not saying that, like, oh, I can't believe that, like, people feel guilty about it. But, like, that's how I see it. I'm like, it's food. Yeah. Like, I enjoy it, and I like my structure, so I just get back to that, like, next day or 2 days after, like, if I'm on vacation for 2 days when I get back. You know what I mean? Like, the structure is always going to be there, so enjoy the food and enjoy the free meal and whatever.
And the thing is, for most people, anytime that you have a free meal, you're not like on a timeline. You don't need to like wear a bikini tomorrow, like for a photo shoot. Like if you're bloated, nobody has to know. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah,
give
like
it a
no
couple
one cares
days.
but you.
Yeah, and you'll come back down, and it'll be the human body is amazing. It takes care of itself, and you just get back to your structure, and it's fine. So, okay, the last one is. Do you think it's possible to lean bulk without counting macros?
So, I mean, I'm not going to say it's impossible. And I think everyone's definition of, like, lean bulk is different. So, I don't personally think it's impossible. Now, like, obviously, yes, you have to make sure that you're, consistently weighing yourself. And if your weight's not going up, you'd have to be like, okay, I'm going to eat a bit more. But what I will say is it's going to be a lot easier to monitor and change things and have, like, a very controlled growing phase or bulking phase if you are tracking. So, I mean, like, I'm all for intuitive eating. Like, I think it's great. I think when I'm done competing and whatever, like, I'm not going to be tracking macros. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need to do that. But when I'm growing, I like to track because I don't like to be like, okay, I'm just going to eat a shit ton because then you might gain too much body fat. Or I know a lot of people would have trouble. Like I have to eat a lot to grow. So for me, like, I would have a really hard time eating enough if I didn't have macros to like hold me accountable. And I really like having the consistency and being able to look at like what small things can I tweak to make sure that I am progressing and I am putting on lean muscle tissue, and things like that. So I think it's possible, but I think if you are someone who can track macros and have it be like a healthy thing, like mentally, like it's just going to be more effective that way.
Yeah, agreed. Especially if you have tracked in the past, then you probably have a pretty good idea of what you need to grow and like what's in the food you're eating. I also think to actually progress and not track, you need to be somebody who's like, well, like I just said, you've done it before, but like you're very in tune with your body, so you can like listen to your hunger cues. And I mean, in a cutting phase anyway, but in a lean bulk, you're gonna have to eat when you're not hungry. And I don't know, like it's a weird thing because there's no like hard science, like, oh, when there's nothing that's like tells you what amount of macros your body needs. Like we don't have like a little calculator on our wrist that like tells us, you know what I mean? So you just have to be really in tune with your body. And just like Lexi said, I'm not gonna say it's impossible because it's definitely possible. I've seen people do it, but I just think you gotta have some kind of background with like nutrition or tracking or understanding like how it all works for you to be able to intuitively eat and still progress, if that makes sense.
And I think too, it depends, like if you just want to grow, like I know a lot of people who just like bulk and they're not tracking, and like that's fine. And I think a lot of the reason people are successful with that is if they're in a phase where they can like go out to eat a lot and like mentally they're in a spot where like they can go get, like, it's, people will call it like a dirty bulk, and I don't like to call it a dirty bulk. It's not like bad, but it's just like you're cool just like maybe gaining a little bit of extra body fat because you're just at a phase of your life where it's like you like to go out and like eat large quantities of food. But I know for like myself and for a lot of people, like it's not necessarily comfortable to be like, I'm full but I'm gonna keep eating, you know what I mean? Like for me it's like analyzing all of that is like more difficult, like would be more of a pain in the ass for me than just like giving myself macros. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so like we said at the beginning of this video, the rest of the questions will be on Lexi's channel, which will be linked below. So go check that video out if you have not already. If you watched until now, I'm taking all my good vibes. I'm sending them your way. If you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe before you leave and hit the bell, that would be dope. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye.